FM, I am DJZouain. This is the Hijack. Welcome and thank you for hanging out. This is the first time... Wow, my hair's all sorts of messed up. Woo! This is the first time that I'm recording and streaming live on the new Twitch channel. Doing it because I want to just separate the Hijack from DJZouain, not because of any ideological reasons, algorithmic reasons. That's the reason. It's because of the algorithms, the robots. I need to make sure that the programs that I put together are being delivered to the right people. And a lot of the time, look at this shit. What is going on? I just have to hit the play. I just have to hit the start button. And look at this. That's what happened. That's my life. That's my life. First world problems, shall we say? Anyway, so I've decided to do YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and all of that under the Hijack The End. Also TikTok. So shout out to the TikToks. So you can now follow me on all of that under the Hijack The End. And if you like my music stuff, you can go to, obviously, my DJZouain pages on all of the social medias. DJZouain. We have a lot to talk about. So, first of all, this is another throwback episode. This is throwback episode 3, the Hijack number 344. 2 days before this recording, former President Donald Trump had an assassination attempt on his life 2 days from this recording, 2 days ago. And I would first like to say that at this point, only conspiracy theorists believe that this was an orchestrated event from either side. Occam's razor takes place here, basically. The simplest answer is the answer. That's what happened. And from all accounts, this was a lone gunman who was incessantly bullied. Let's just go ahead and take a look at what happened on the, I believe, 13th of this month. 13th of July, 2 days ago.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes, sir.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
So we got to move to the bus. Let me get my shoes.
Okay, my shoes down. Get the shoe.
Watch out.
Wait.
Right there. Mark my words, man. That right there, that was it. The best promo shot he could have gotten. The president got shot. It was an actual... and let me also be clear. When one of the world's greatest con men is doing a speech, gets shot at, but it really looked a little sus. A little sussy-wussy, I would say. To be clear, it is not suspicious, but it did look a little sussy-wussy in the beginning. So let's not pretend... like the world's greatest con men, that everybody didn't think, okay, there's something going on there. Again, it is not. It was an actual assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life, and I'm, glad that it didn't work out that way. And not only that, but it's a stupid thing to do. It is a stupid thing to do from a moral perspective and from a political one, because now he's the man. Now even the people that were like, I don't know. Now people are going to walk on coals for this man. This kid was a 20-year-old that was bullied incessantly. We actually have, courtesy of Breaking Points, we have a video from one of his former classmates.
He was bullied almost every day.
In what way? Can you explain?
I mean, he would sit alone at lunch. I mean, he was just an outcast, and you know how kids are nowadays, so they're going to see someone like that, and they're going to target him because they think it's funny or whatever. So it's the best way I can describe it. And it's honestly kind of sad. Like, I don't want to say this is what provoked it, but you never know.
Yeah. You said he was a loner?
Yeah. I want to say he was a loner more because he was quiet, but like he was just bullied. Like he was bullied so much.
This was high school.
Yeah.
What did they, do you remember at all what they said to him or called him?
No. He was just made fun of, I guess, for the way he dressed or his appearance.
At the end of the day, this kid was bullied incessantly, and he likely, I'm going to say this carefully, he likely saw Trump as a representation of the bullies that he encountered in school. This isn't an excuse of an act of violence against anybody, so I am condemning it, but I am just saying that was, it's not far-fetched to think that that might be the case. That the man that is known for bullying, gunning for the highest office in the land, that this kid who just graduated high school probably didn't know much about what he was going to do afterwards. Or maybe he did. I don't know. But I'm just guessing that somebody that had that type of motive, he can't think that he's going to get away with that alive. He's not going to be able to shoot the president and be able to get away with it. That's not a thing that happens. Even with the failed Secret Service detail in Butler, Pennsylvania, it just wouldn't happen. So can we now actually get unified on solving gun violence? Can we take a look-see at the other countries? The other countries that have the least gun violence and the least mass assaults. Because let's face it, this was a mass shooting. A gentleman died. A dude died. A firefighter died covering his family at the Trump rally. Yes, he was a Trump supporter, but at this point, I mean, like, he was a human. I just know that man went out like a hero covering his family. It's a sad day, but it's an American day. I want to know, I should have looked this up before. I want to know how many mass shootings we've had. It's over half the year at this point. I'm kind of wondering how many we've had. But can we now actually be unified on gun violence? And at the risk of beating a dead horse here on the Hijack, can we please be as unified against the bombing in Gaza and the violence occurring with our blessings and our resources? Can we have that unification the way that everybody has unified? Can we condemn what's happening in Gaza, the genocide that's happening in Gaza right now, as with as much gusto as both sides jumping into the there's no reason for gun violence bandwagon? I just want the same, I want that same energy into there's no reason for a genocide in Gaza. I want to have that bandwagon. Can we have that bandwagon? And can we be this unified against gun violence in schools? Oh, and speaking of schools, there's a report out that Sagar, actually, from Breaking Points, covered about a Butler police officer who saw the gunman right before the gunman fired those shots at Trump. And you know what that officer did? He fled the scene. I want to find more information on it because I will be posting about it. My man pulled a Uvalde. While I believe that there's no excuse for this, I could take a gander at the situation in the United States and see how somebody with a little bit wrong in his noodle might have some issues that make him have a breakdown and lose it. I could see that. It doesn't excuse it, but let's be real. This didn't fall out of the sky. Now let's talk politically. Trump getting shot is the worst and best thing to ever happen to him. Because obviously the worst thing because of the trauma and yada, yada, yada. Shit, I just realized I can't wear my Iron Reagan shirt anymore. You know the one. Anyway. But now, And now he has one of the best promo shots to exist in American history. I'm telling you, this man only thinks in content. This guy, after getting shot at, has the Secret Service bring him up and wait. You hear that in the microphone. Wait. And then he does this and yells, fight, like he's singing in a punk band or something. And now he's probably going to win the presidency. Don't believe me? The Dems are pulling back on advertising. Morning Joe was pulled off the air just in case somebody said something crazy. And President Biden almost said, "Make America Great Again" in his speech. Biden could not get through his 6.5-minute speech without screwing something up. Like, not just like a screw up a word or miss a preposition, something. No, this guy straight up almost used the opponent's tagline. One of the most famous taglines in all of politics. He almost took it and used it. It's insane. Let me see if I could find it.
We don't know whether he had help or support or if he communicated with anyone else. A former president was shot down this road in America. A mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th, or brutal attack on the spouse.
This was the only thing.
Whether it's with members of Congress and both.
This is the only thing that he did.
Go down this road in America.
That's the only thing that he did in this speech that I thought was worthwhile. He also, politically speaking, he reminded people of the January 6th insurrection. And I'll tell you, that's good. That's a good thing for him to remember people, because the thing is, people are going to get all sentimental about this. They're going to get very sentimental about the fact that Trump, even the people that generally don't like him, nobody wants to see a man shot. And that's the problem now. Now there's going to be pity for the guy. There's going to be all kinds of... This kid, the dumbest thing that he could have done morally and politically. That's it. It's Jover, my guys. Let's hear President Biden almost use President Trump's slogan.
But in America, we resolve our differences at the battle box.
At the battle box.
Leave that with every soul, every power of my being.
Every soul. How many souls you got?
Power of my being. We resolve peacefully.
Listen to this.
Not through acts of violence. You know, we're blessed to live in the greatest country on earth, and I believe that with every soul, every power of my being.
How many souls?
So tonight, I'm asking every American to recommit, to make America, think about it. What's made America so special?
What is he doing?
Here in America, everyone must be treated with dignity and respect, and hate must have no safe harbor.
What is he doing?
Here in America, we need to get out of our...
Oh my God. I'm getting frustrated again, because watching this is infuriating to my... It's insulting our intelligence. We know this person is not able to lead. Why are we pretending? A quick look at what happened from the shooter's perspective, because there were several people that were alerting authorities about somebody on a roof with a gun. So let's hear what happened. This is out of CNN.
We have some brand new video just coming in showing another angle of the moments before the attempted assassination on Donald Trump. As we're going to watch this video together, it's about a minute long. You can see the video moving around. You can also... Let's listen in together. So you'll see it, and let's listen to what they say.
Shut up so we can listen.
There he is. Because we have millions and millions
he's right there.
in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here.
Right on the roof.
It's much tougher than it happens.
You went right on the roof, big guy.
If he was doing the job, I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful place.
I mean, you can hear it. The way it's described is the crowd there, as you can see, spotted the gunman more than a minute before the shooting, and you can see them, hear them calling out for law enforcement to try to draw their attention to it. Just remarkable in seeing how this played out and how close he was, some 450, 500 feet.
450, 500 feet. 130 yards, I think, something like that. This is an unmitigated disaster for everybody involved, except for Trump, actually, because the worst is done now. You know, the bullet grazed his ear, and now he's got the bullet wounds. This is going to be one of the best things that happened to him. But at this point, between Trump's lies and Biden's constant rebooting mid-sentence, it's now about presentation. And unfortunately for what's left of democracy, Biden's presenting like someone who needs his keys taken away. So with that, let's take a look at an episode that we did about 4 years ago with our favorite historian, Al Sterling, about the velvet divorce of the United States into 5 different countries. So submitted for your approval, I bring you the United States and the story of the velvet divorce.
I have sat and thought about secession to the point where, like, I mean, Google knows, right? Because I've got a bunch of the smart speakers all around.
Oh yeah.
So Google's aware.
Google's aware. So the NSA is definitely aware.
Yeah. Well, look, when it comes to privacy, my attitude is, look, you got to do one of two things. Either you can fight it or you can just give up. And so for me personally, I just gave up.
That's true. I'm the same way. I mean, I when somebody, and I mean, you and I share that same year-round tan, and so we kind of get a speed pass to and all things NSA related. I think.
Yeah, like whatever. Like, look, you want to do this? Personally, I feel like I'm providing some cover for some other folk. You know, like y'all gonna listen to my shit. Enjoy. It's gonna be a lot of conversations about like which version of the spaghetti recipe am I gonna do. More conversations about DuckTales than any of you fuckers are ready for, and all that. Can I say that? Or am I allowed to do that?
We're all good. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of who was it? A bit about being the designated drunk driver. Maybe it was Dov Davidoff. Designated drunk driver, which is somebody that basically drinks water the whole time, but pretends to be drunk, so that the cop that is looking at that's looking at the bar chases them, and they're clean, and the other drunk people can drive off.
Yeah, that is some white people shit right there.
That is some brilliant white people shit. That is why they conquered half the world.
Actually, that's not why they luck actually has more.
What are you, some historian or something? What do you
look? All I'm saying is Genghis Khan died just before he wiped him out, and smallpox knocked out all of the American Indians before they showed up. White people showed there. And really, if we want to really get back to it, just to be real for a minute, if Hannibal had marched on Rome during the Second Punic War, then all of Western civilization moves from Europe to North Africa, and shit gets real different from there. So,
wow, that is not a way that I would have. I mean, that's why you're the expert, and I'm just the guy going, hey. Am I going to need to worry about a bunch of bros with AR-15s trying to secede from Florida too?
I mean, we need to worry about a bunch of bros with AR-15s. That's just really, regardless of their mindset, even if they're pretty happy, and they're like, hey, what's going on, man? Like, really, I see a bunch of dudes walking around with AR-15s. Like, you know what? I don't need to find out which one of y'all's having a bad day. Okay, like I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I get nervous. I don't need to do this. White people and their guns. It's just those are no. I'm good.
I think that when it comes to people seceding, like I have, and you and I actually have mutual friends that are that way. That are very much, the they're taking our guns type, and it's kind of scary because I know those guys personally. There are a couple that I'm like, oh yeah, dude, whatever, just chill out with your Call of Duty, all right, Francis. Like there's a small handful of them that I get really worried about.
I mean, look, the idea that a couple assholes ruin it for everybody is not new. That has historical precedent as well.
Exactly, but so what I'm saying is like, okay, so if we were to going back to your point that like got my hamsters rolling in my brain, what would happen if we were to split up in countries and like not just Texas, because Texas has always been bitching and moaning about this.
Yeah.
I want to know like the rest, because you have assholes in every state going, we should secede from Oklahoma. Really? How are you going to do that, bro? Like, how does that happen? Like geographically.
So I gotta put a couple little notes up front.
Okay.
One, I have engaged in this thought for a while now about like, okay, well, if we were gonna divvy it up, I'm assuming what we referred to like when the Czech Republic broke up, it was a velvet divorce.
Yes,
everybody gets together.
Before we start, can I just point out that my show, The Hijack, currently has two brown people talking about secession. This is definitely not going to go well.
Bruh. It ain't the brown people talk about secession. I'm gonna be straight with you right there.
This is true this time. But
I'm just trying to keep my head down, dude.
We just get hit harder. That's the thing.
Exactly. Like I'm not trying to be nobody's target. Okay.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
But first, I'm assuming this for me was a fun mental exercise as somebody who studied history, and taught history and done that stuff. For me, it was fun to kind of think through like how would that go, and the optimal method. So we're assuming a velvet divorce, meaning everybody agreed to it, everything was fine.
Got it.
Yeah, because so there was the Czech Republic broke up into Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia and all of them. So the Czechoslovakia in particular broke up into the Czech Republic and Slovakia, two separate countries. They divided up. Everything was good, and it's known as the Velvet Divorce. So something along those lines here is what we'd be talking. What I'm thinking about. So that's the first piece. The second piece, we are also assuming that as a part of this beautiful Velvet Divorce here, that everybody was given an opportunity to. Everybody got like a couple $1,000s worth of moving money, so that. Folks that were like, you know what, I'd like to just, if I could slide over a little bit, that'd be great. So those kind of thing. And the third thing that we should note here is that this also excludes the rest of the world being just bombing the hell out of everything. Like we're assuming the rest of the world is like, no, man, take your time, get your stuff figured out. We're good. We're good. We're like, you guys do you let us know how it goes. And we support you through this. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. And one other piece here. And because I do think we need to adjust, like this is a fun mental exercise, but to talk about real here, the underlying problem that you're going to run into and the reason that these secession arguments come up and will keep coming up comes back to two key factors. If we want to talk like legit history here, you've got one, there has been a tension between the rural and urban areas since the founding of the country. Now, this is not exclusive to the United States. A lot of other countries deal with this, but in the United States, it's particularly pronounced. The other part here, and this is going to be like, I don't know how many people you pissed off today, but I'd like to go ahead and piss off some of your listeners if I could.
Cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So America is founded on this idea, like we identify ourselves as having this rugged individualism.
Yes.
This whole like we tamed the West, we conquered the land, manifest destiny, and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
One, that's not true.
Okay.
We'll save that for another conversation. But two, the problem with rugged individualism is followed to its logical conclusion is selfishness.
Yes.
And that's what you're seeing now. Also being so, I mean, it's one thing, rugged individualism, you got to stand on your own 2 feet and do something with whatever. It's another thing to say, well, like if they don't have anything, then they should have thought about that before they were poor. And we as a cultural value, we equate poor people with being lazy as opposed to just being destroyed by a system that has been doing all that shit. Anyway, so all of those are all my shit. So here's how I divided up the country.
Okay, how did you do it?
Because in this Velvet Divorce, they also said, "Get me Al Sterling." Yeah, tell us how to do this.
I mean, why wouldn't they?
Right. Well, we heard you had a podcast and a short film, so we thought you're the guy.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So here's how we divided it up, and I have thought both geographically, culturally, economically, militarily. I went through a whole damn thing. So starting on the far western end of the nation, California picks up California picks up Oregon and Washington, and a little bit of their neighbor into Idaho there, and all of that becomes the Pacific Northwest. Okay.
All right.
So
have you thought up a name for this place yet?
I actually I have this. Did you see my highly rendered map?
I did, but I did not go through it in too great of detail.
Well, that's because it just did colors.
Okay.
But we'll call this one California, since California is one that's really anchoring this little section here, right?
Okay, so we'll just give it the California name.
Yeah, we'll just call it California, and
Okay.
it being California in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
And so these guys look a lot like Western Europe. Higher taxes, clean living, very progressive. Still got a lot of farming and agriculture that comes through there.
Okay.
We get, for example, almost all of the almonds in the world are grown in California.
All of the almond
the almond brothers, sisters, cousins, and the extended family, like the almond family, but like Hispanic family. So it keeps going.
Okay, good.
That kind of thing. So it's gonna be very progressive, very liberal, clean living, all that kind of shit. A little snooty, but you're not surprised.
Yeah, of course.
The Southwest is
coffee.
Yeah, the Southwest is anchored by Colorado. So we'll just call this one Colorado, but this includes Colorado, Utah, Nevada, and then most of Arizona, most of New Mexico.
So are you telling me, hold on, are you telling me that that we're just going to give them like the name of the state that basically anchors it?
Yeah, I mean, I did a color coding, but if you can't see the map, that's going to get confusing.
Okay.
So we'll call it Colorado to keep it simple there.
Okay.
But Colorado really is the anchor for this whole area.
We move further into this and actually get new names for all these things.
I would love to.
I'll do that later.
Appreciate you doing that. So this section here, so the Southwest, the central Southwest here, these guys are anchored by a booming tech and medical industry. Colorado's already made a lot of progress there. Colorado's already has a big enough economy thanks to the weed legalization to be able to, and they've got a pretty happy and healthy populace.
Yeah.
They're going to pick up Arizona and New Mexico because Arizona and New Mexico aren't going to be real happy with going with either the Texas side or the California side. And you're going to have a very independent streak that goes through here. Because a lot of folks forget about this, could think about Colorado and weed, but Colorado is still a decently conservative area, just not conservative like Trump is conservative, because Trump's not fucking conservative. But conservative in the whole, still like very much like, hey, look, man, you got to go do your own thing. But in Colorado, they believe that also means giving you some shit to do your own thing.
Yes.
They've also got a lot of natural resources. Arizona, New Mexico has a lot of, for a lot of empty desert space out there, but they've got a lot of tech out that way too. They also will have the friendliest relationship with Mexico to the south. And actually, as a little aside here, we're assuming everybody else behaves themselves. But if anything like this were to happen, you can bet Mexico is going to claim both sides of the Rio Grande, which is the river that creates most of the border between the United States and Mexico, and which we have been, let's call it, unkind in our treatment of Mexico on that piece.
Is that what we're going to call it?
Yeah, well, to be fair, Mexico's also been a dick about it at times. So,
that's good. Unkind.
Yeah, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? So really the thing is here, so in true conservatism, not Republicans, because those guys aren't fucking conservative. In true like small government shit, the government basically stays the fuck out of your way and lets you do what you want as long as you ain't hurting nobody.
Yep.
So in Colorado, you're going to basically find a lot of the stuff is legal there that's not legal everywhere else, but maybe like California. But in Colorado, it's cheaper and less regulated.
Yes.
So you'll be able to score your dabs in both locations. Colorado's going to be a little easier, though. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to ask many questions. They ain't going to require a prescription. But it was all pretty
quality is usually better.
Well, I'm just saying it was grown by that guy out back. Like you could see that whole farm to table shit is really just grow house to, I don't know, jar. However it is you store. I don't really. So
grow house to jar.
To jar. And I was gonna say to paper, but I'm not here to judge how you intake. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I get it.
So moving north here, we have what I'm referring to here is the bread basket. All right. So the bread basket picks up all those states in the middle, what we call flyover country for the most part. So this is picking up.
I'm sure they love that term.
I don't care. Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and Minnesota.
Okay, yeah, it's a good description. I'm not going to lie.
Listen, I've visited several of these states. You're fine. So the bread basket is where most of the food for all. There's now 8 countries, by the way. I know I said 5 earlier. And I was still there. We're talking about 8 countries.
Excuse me, let me fix that real quick.
I felt bad, but it was after I did it. So there's so these guys are growing the food. These guys are pride themselves on being simple, salt of the earth types, and they kind of are. They're also strongly insular, so they don't really want to deal with other people. They don't really like anybody who's not them. But they'll sell their food to other folks, and they have a decent relationship with the manufacturing section that we'll get to next.
Okay,
but that's them. So they stay conservative, but they're more conservative than like the Colorado piece, but not scary, crazy conservative. That they're coming.
Yeah.
So there's them. Moving due south now. So we've got California, Colorado, breadbasket. Moving south, we hit Texas.
Okay. Tejas.
Texas includes all of Texas. Chunks of New Mexico.
Can we switch the name to something other than Texas just to piss them off? Because they would be so mad if they were part of an anchor. They were the biggest part of it, and they weren't called. Let's call it New Mexico or something.
No, actually, no. I got you. We're gonna call them New Orleans.
Yes,
because so they'll pick up. So New Orleans picks up all of Texas, Oklahoma, parts of New Mexico, little bits of Louisiana. And Arkansas, little bits and pieces of that.
I'm calling this segment "Messing with Texas."
Good.
Yes,
I love it.
I
love it. I mean, I've already announced that one of our key things that we love about ourselves is selfish. So so here's what happens here, right? So they actually go, I think, surprisingly liberal.
Really?
Yes. Now, I don't mean they go liberal. I mean, you would be surprised at where they get liberally.
Oh, because of Austin, right? Because of Austin?
Well, you got Austin, you've got Houston, and because the option for New Orleans specifically here in this scenario is to either go with the Texas folks or to go with the Deep South. New Orleans looks around and says, I'm good. I'm Texas. Yay. So that provides a little bit of a liberal influence. Also, don't forget here, Texas is not as red as it was 20 years ago. You've had a huge influx of immigrants, legal and otherwise, from Mexico and Central America, and they're bringing their shit with them, man. There's no avoiding that.
That's true.
So I think I think they go more liberal than folks would assume. Still heavily armed.
Yes, definitely. That'll never change between the Mexicans and it just being Texas. That'll never change.
Absolutely. Well, and these guys still, again, these guys actually have a booming space industry as it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That whole thing, Houston, we have a problem. Houston wasn't the name of the dude. That was where the fuck these people were sitting. Oh yes, Jonathan Houston. He was the one who really made the difference.
Good
there.
old Jonathan Houston.
So these guys have got they've got trade, they've got farming, they've got space, they've got some technology, they got all that stuff. They've also got a large military because of course they do. And they actually end up then with a really strong bond with Florida, which I'm saving for last. They despise the Deep South. And we'll get back to them and why that is in a little bit.
Okay, wow, that's
that's what I said. So skipping back up, right? So now we've talked California, we've talked Colorado, we've talked breadbasket, we've talked New Orleans.
Yep.
And now up in what we're going to call the eastern half of the north here.
You can call it up.
We're gonna call this one. I guess let's call this one
Massachusetts. That's fine. I agree.
No, Massachusetts. We ain't to New England yet.
Oh no.
No. This is the one where I sat and thought. Shoot, I sat and thought the most about. I'm sorry, I'm experiencing some technical difficulties.
No, it's okay. I think that when it comes to
there we go. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yes, I'm in favor of everything. As long as when we get to the Northeast, Massachusetts is the name of the northeastern state.
Done. We'll name a Massachusetts just for you.
All right. Good.
Well, we have the manufacturing sector here, really.
Okay.
And so we're talking Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, And then Pennsylvania gets real confusing. Pennsylvania, I think, gets real messy.
Yeah.
And so does Virginia, actually. What's that?
At least half of that has to go to Massachusetts, just attitude-wise.
Well, and that's the thing, too, is I don't think that one divides up real even. But this section right here is manufacturing, but they do have a pretty diverse economy. There's still a lot of farmland out there.
Yeah.
Illinois, Indiana, Ohio.
Yep.
But the manufacturing is really where they're gonna really strive. And they will stay, I think, the most similar to way that America pictures itself, their self-image. So this rugged individualism, this respect for most people, they'll have plenty of decent paying jobs. They'll also pick up a lot of talent from the more rural areas like the breadbasket. They're going to pick up, I think, a lot of those folks. They'll also pick a lot of folks up from the Deep South because they'll be the views that kind of be there. They'll also be the most central as far as temperament is concerned.
How many do they have? I want to know.
What's that?
Are they the worst when it comes to the COVID deaths at this point?
Oh, no. Deep South. Deep South is the worst of all of these.
Okay, good. Oh, yeah.
That
makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, but they are going to do that. The meat, the manufacturing, all that kind of stuff is going to come up there. They're going to be a simple, boring place to live, and I don't mean that as a bad thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So then, now we're getting up to, let's call it Massachusetts. I was calling it New England. We'll call it Massachusetts.
We can call it Massachusetts.
So this is where I think Virginia gets a little confusing here, because Virginia you can make an argument for Virginia going deep south, going for Massachusetts, or going not really manufacturing as much, but maybe a little bit, especially because Virginia bumps up against Washington, D.C. So you've got this whole area, though, is going to be the highest educated, the strongest sense of self.
All right.
They're going to be the hub for business, banking, and travel.
Okay.
They've still got New York City there, which is still going to be, connected to the whole planet here.
Yep.
For reasons that are gonna never make sense to the breadbasket or the Deep South, they will have a significantly outsized economy.
Okay.
And so they'll have a lot of money, and they will use it as a weapon against people who don't do what they want to do. They will be very Massachusetts about everything, just obnoxious as fuck.
I feel like you're insulting me, but I don't see it.
I'm just speaking truth, okay? I'm just speaking truth. I should also note, by the way, I feel like there's like a 40% chance that Maine just says fuck it and goes Canada.
Yeah, we're out of here.
Yeah, it's like, you know what, dude? We're basically Canada anyway. It's a weird shape that goes up here. We're just gonna flatten it out.
Yeah,
just extend the line straight across and just do that. Like, we're good.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, I like that.
So that's that part, and then now we have two left, right?
I say no. I say
No?
we keep Maine.
You're gonna keep Maine? All right.
Absolutely, we keep Maine. I like those lobsters, bro.
It's fine. I mean, I think Canada, to be honest with you, I think Canada closes and arms the border 15 minutes in. Just it goes from the most open border in the world to just like
North Korea.
Like, seriously, like there's suddenly a DMZ and fucking mines getting buried and shit. The UN is like, are you burying mines? Here, take some of these. We get it. Here, have some more mines.
Yeah.
There's peacekeepers out there with fucking shovels and shit, just putting it down.
Justin Trudeau is taking pictures with a horse with his shirt off and stuff.
Just like we've got to project strength. Anyway, so then we get to the Deep South. So the Deep South is not great. So I'm imagining the dividing line here is going to be right about the Mississippi, possibly Ohio rivers. And then, so it's picking up, I mean, like most of Louisiana, Arkansas, and then, I mean, all the states you're imagining: Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, the Carolinas, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, and then a chunk of Virginia. So the problem here is that they will have some legit tech. They have some solid, like right now in that section of the world, there's legitimate industries going on there. Georgia's got a thriving production scene for movies and TV shows and stuff like that. There's a ton of stuff. It's actually one of the reasons that Georgia's starting to look a little more purple, because you just kept putting all of them actors and Hollywood types in Atlanta.
Yeah, and, doesn't Tyler Perry have something to do with that?
Oh yeah, Tyler Perry. I mean, Walking Dead has been filmed there forever.
Yeah,
tons of movies. I mean, you watch Marvel. The Marvel Studios has a massive complex. I mean, acres and acres and acres of studio.
That's so cool.
out that way. yeah, I mean, a lot of the Avengers movies were filmed in Georgia.
Yeah, that's badass, man.
Right?
That's cool.
So that's so they do have a lot going for them. However, two things are going to kill them. First, they're going to go like that's already killing them.
You
they're going to
okay.
Yeah, they're going to get the religious fervor is going to be combined with that conservatism, and it's going to start locking it down. And folks who don't like that are going to leave.
Yeah.
So when we talked, I know I kind of like did a little throwaway line about migratory things, but you're going to see brain drain happen. And this is something, and brain drain, by the way, is a very real problem that affects a lot of countries. India actually struggled with it for a long time and still does.
Explain what brain drain is.
So this is where let's say you live in a country. I mean, like I said, India was dealing with this for a long time. They're starting to turn the corner. But for a long time, all of their best and brightest left the country to go be educated in the United States, in England, in Europe, and then they don't come back. So all of your it depresses your economy here because you're constantly losing, and you're not attracting any top talent from anywhere else.
No, I'm saying I'm racist because the minute you said brain drain, I thought there was there was something to do with like the water or something like that, where like the Flint thing. Like I thought it was like a Flint situation, but like in countries, I mean, because like that hurts the brain. I mean, that was like
it does. I wasn't referring to specifically brain damage. I was referring to the overall.
That's good. That's good. That's
so
it's still bad, but good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because the thing here is like if you happen to be, let's say, you're born into a decently well-off family in the middle of the Deep South, but you happen to be gay. What do you? I mean, like forget this whole velvet divorce thing. What would you do today?
You get a mustache.
You probably leave. You go to somewhere else. You take and all of your abilities and everything that you could be doing for your community.
You get a beard. That's what it is. That was the joke. Sorry.
I was gonna just kind of let it go.
Don't let it go. I mean, call me out, man. It's fine. That was my mistake. I need to own up to it. Anyway,
well, that's fair. I mean, I do love making fun of you. So I think the brain drain there hits the South and hits the South hard, and it becomes a progressive problem there. So and not to mention, of course, that people of color in those areas are not staying. If they have any opportunity to leave, every single person is going. Well, most of them are going to pack up and go, and the ones that don't are going to be fighting. So,
is there some sort of so in this hypothetical, when this all gets gerrymandered, I decide I'm in the Deep South. I want to get the fuck out of here. I want to go back to Massachusetts where it's nice and people are mean. Does Massachusetts or any of the other countries have any sort of like, hey, you are part of that old thing that we were the United States. Here's some money for you to come over to here. Like, well, I mean, because I think that there should be some sort of like, in order to entice people to come to your place, there should be some sort of financial incentive.
Well, we can look at the United States for some examples of where that's happening now. Currently, seriously, like, I mean, Alaska forever pays its people. Delaware actually famously is currently or has recently was offering people something like $10,000 to go live there for X number of years.
Yes, I heard about that.
So I mean, it is the thing is we're coming off of the end of the boomers, and we call them boomers and make fun of them, and rightfully so. But the term baby boomers these were the children of the folks that came back from World War II. And so this led to this huge population explosion, and now the population is dropping back off. And so as a result, there are places that are losing their people. Now,
I think
if we look at go ahead. Well, we look at other countries and see what they've done. Other countries, when these types of things have happened, no, it's mostly been refugees because most of what they're worried about isn't trying to attract talent from other places. It's trying to keep a war from breaking out. Because the Deep South, for example, is not going to be keen to let the smart gay guy go. Like they're just going to say, well, just be straight. Do that instead.
Yeah, get yourself a beard. See, I did it right this time.
There you go.
Wow, man. So so now you have the Deep South.
Well, it gets a little worse.
Oh, great. It gets a little worse.
Now, so again, when you lose your top talent, you have a greater number of poor people to pay for.
Yeah,
and poor people cost money, whether you pay for them or not. Like These guys, I mean, when a homeless guy goes to the emergency room, we pay for it as taxpayers. We all pay for it because the only other option is to let him die, and that's not what we're supposed to do. So this is going to constantly bring down. So now you're going to have you're going to have a lot of people without enough jobs and a lot of religious fervor. And do you know what happens when you combine those things, Wayne?
What?
War.
So we're going to go to war. And it's the Deep South's problem. Imagine that.
Well, they're going to try. And this is where I start to think through it, right? So the Deep South is going to want to go to war.
Yeah.
They're going to be looking for somebody to pick on. So let's go counterclockwise, starting with Massachusetts, all right? Because they share a border. They're going to share a border there. So they might want to pick a fight with Massachusetts. They'll think they're a bunch of sissies anyway. Yeah. The problem is, the much like they did back in the 1860s, they have all the money and all the tech.
Yeah.
Except now it's much more exacerbated. So
Irish, all the drunk Irish people and Red Sox fans, man, it's over.
Yeah. No. So they may try some skirmishes there, but they're just New England's going to make them pay.
Yeah.
It's not going to be worth it. So then they also share a border with the manufacturing folks up in yellow, as long with the breadbasket too. They'll share some kind of a border with the breadbasket. Yeah. They don't want those are going to be the folks that they're friendliest with, though. They're not going to want to fight with those guys.
Yeah,
because that's where their food comes from.
They pick their battles. That's the way it is.
Right. So as they swing around, their next option is Texas, which is a terrible idea. And even the Deep South realizes they've got the largest military and they don't like us. Provoking them is not a great plan. So you know who they're going to want to go after?
Who?
Us. Brings us to Florida, our last country. So here's what Florida does. Florida is the most interesting of all of them.
We're our own country.
Sort of. We actually get a lot smaller.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, because we got to remember, Florida's got a lot of deep south folk, right? So the dividing line here will be south of Jacksonville and north of Gainesville and cut in half. So everything basically north of Gainesville goes and joins the Deep South.
Okay, that makes sense. That would make sense. Yeah.
Right. So that's going to leave us as the smallest country by a lot.
Okay.
Both geographically and in terms of numbers.
Yep.
It is also going to mean that the demographics of what's left of Florida changes a whole bunch. Okay. You're going to see a huge increase in the influence from the Caribbean. You're going to see a huge influence of. We're also going to see a huge influx of black folk coming down from the Deep South.
Yep.
Because those black folk going to look around and be like, well, the only place that ain't snowing is Florida, so we're going that way.
That's true.
That's what I do. So, and so then all of a sudden, the demographics, this is no longer a state that is even 40% white. It's now a country that is like maybe 35% white, with a lot of Hispanics, a lot of blacks, and then probably a fair amount of other folks kind of spilling in from all over the place. So this becomes an incredibly diverse spot, but it also becomes way wealthier than anybody would suspect. Because Florida has always been an incredibly cheap place to do business. So the Space Coast, for example, is going to explode.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do that. You're going to see tourism is still going to stay around because, listen, if we don't get renamed Disney World, we're going to be lucky.
True.
So tourism is going to hang around. And then don't forget, we have the more old people than anybody. So our medical and hospitals are already top notch.
Sure.
So we've got a whole bunch of stuff going for us there, and we'll finally have some decent goddamn food. So,
yeah, that's true.
I'm saying. So we end up as this really crazy multicultural spot, but we're also super Florida.
Yeah,
so, we're going to keep, experimenting. I think the polite term for this is innovation. But mad scientist may be a little more accurate, right?
That's true. It's, but that's, you know what? That's actually, innovation is actually more accurate because much like when someone is, the difference between crazy and eccentric is just the amount of money that you have. So the difference between mad scientist and innovative is how much money you have. Like right now, Elon Musk is innovative. He's digging holes in LA, but he's innovative because he has the money. Otherwise, he'd be a mad scientist.
Yeah, he could be both. Anyway, so here's the part that gets really interesting for me, though, right? So the Deep South is looking for somebody to go conquer because they need an enemy.
Okay.
And similar to what you saw happen with Russia and the Ukraine, there's a bunch of Southerners still living in Florida who are like, those are our people, and the red states go, you know what, the Deep South, we're going to take it. But then something amazing happens.
Okay.
Between the huge Hispanic populations and the shared space coast, the shared space boom, Florida and Texas become real good friends.
So
Texas
become real good friends. That is an interesting. I mean, it makes sense. It's on brand, I think.
Well, we got to remember too. Have you ever like? I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mind messing with Texas. I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Have you ever called a Texan a Southerner?
No, I've never done that.
If he's within arm's reach, if he or she is within arm's reach, don't do that.
Okay. All right.
Texans are not Southerners. They find that they don't like Southern. They get tired of being equated with the same thing. So there's already a little bit of that, little bit of animosity. And also one other thing you could say about Texas, they abhor a bully.
Okay.
So they've got economic and cultural ties with the smallest country getting picked on by another country that they don't really like.
Okay.
So between the two of those, there becomes this thing. And also, to be fair, if the Deep South, if Reds were to try to come into Florida, we have a lot of crazy people. So
we have no shortage of that. No.
And it's gonna continue, I think. I mean, we just at a certain point, somebody is gonna start launching alligators at them. I'm not joking. They will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. I can actually picture. There are two people in my head that automatically jumped into my brain. Looking at you, Matt. He knows he's probably listening to this and going, yeah, I'd be the one throwing the alligator.
Listen, it'd be super effective. You drop a 12-footer in the midst of a group of people, and unless you're a Floridian, you're panicking. All right,
yeah, absolutely.
The Floridians just knock over whoever's not from Florida and step back in the zigzag pattern, and we're fine.
The zigzag pattern. Everybody from Florida knows this. You know, that is something that is one of those things that I thought everybody knew, because when I came, so I learned about the zigzag pattern, to run in a zigzag pattern, when I got to Florida. And I just thought that everybody knew that shit. I moved to I spent a couple of years in Louisiana, and I guess in Louisiana they didn't know that. I'm like, in Louisiana, you guys have swamps here, don't you?
I figured, no, I thought Louisiana would know that. Like Massachusetts, no, they would. Why would they know that? How would they ever learn that?
In Massachusetts, I talked to people in Massachusetts, and they're like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And I was like, does nobody else know what to do when an alligator runs after you? Is that like I don't understand. I think
you trip a Yankee and you run zigzag.
You know what? The Texan Southerner thing might be the same thing as the New Englander Yankee thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I do, however, I like to call New Englanders Yankees because it annoys me.
I know you do. And it's
anyone north of Virginia, y'all are Yankees.
That is hilarious. So, dude, all right. So we have the 8 countries.
Yep.
And now Texas and Florida are a weird ally. They're weird allies, which makes sense. They both have their own brand of weird, and they're both fairly aggressive. I get it. So okay.
So we're leaving out. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we got Alaska and Hawaii left.
Yeah, that's exactly. And are we gonna take PR? What's going on?
Yeah, no, Puerto Rico. So Puerto Rico, I think, looks around and says, you know what? I'm good. Yeah. We're just going to stay here.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, I think, and to be honest with you, they're no worse off for it.
No.
So they're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, they'll be.
You don't have Donald Trump taking free throws of toilet paper during a hurricane for them.
Yeah, no, I won't be. I mean, they're not going to be great off, but they'll be no worse.
It's a net positive.
Yeah, you're fine, guys. You're really so that leaves. So Alaska, goes independent for a while.
Okay, that's on brand. That's on brand.
Yeah, but eventually, probably joins Canada for financial reasons.
Okay.
Because if they don't, then they start to become Russian.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could see them from the backyard. So that's
what I hear. I hear that,
right.
that we can see Russia from the backyard.
Yeah. So I think Alaska tries to go on its own, but probably if they're lucky, goes Canadian, and that's where that goes. Hawaii, though, here's the thing: a lot of folks assume Hawaii would join California.
Yeah.
But what they are forgetting is that Hawaiians hate us.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
They
spend time there, so you actually you have first knowledge.
Yeah, I lived there. I was there for about 3 years. And the thing is, their grandparents were old enough to remember when their country was taken from them and they were forced to become a state, because that happened in 1959. Oh
shit! I didn't know it happened that recently.
Yeah, and let's just say it wasn't consensual. It was like Brett Kavanaugh consensual. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh my god,
was that joke too far? Was that?
No, that was perfectly. You're surprisingly landing exactly right on the show.
Well, look, I know my audience. I know where I am.
When is For Geek's Sake coming back in?
Sometime after I get my goddamn studio back up.
All right, well, hurry up and get your studio back up.
I'm wasting my time sitting here bullshitting with you, talking about Velvet Divorces and NPR's hip hop scene.
I love Velvet Divorce. That's the thing at Hard Rock, right? Oh no, wait, my name is DJZouain. You can find me anywhere on social media at DJZouain. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. You can subscribe and review to the Hijack. Right here on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts. We're everywhere, bitch. So download, subscribe, review, and where can people find you, good sir?
At the moment, look up For Geek's Sake. Anywhere you want to do the Google piece. We've got all of our back episodes are up on all your favorite podcasting platforms. You can find a bunch of them on YouTube, pieces like that. But we're looking for a fresh face here, so keep an eye out.
All right, beautiful. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and I will talk to you next week. Peace.